1.55 million people bought a treadmill with a horsepower number on the box that the manufacturer later agreed in federal court to stop using. Not because the machines were recalled, because the number was not real. Their compensation was a $30 maintenance kit. That is not a product failure. That is a business model. And this is not a treadmill review. It is a trust breakdown, 7 brands deep. Horizon sells the idea of simplicity. No subscription, no ecosystem, just a treadmill that works. In October 2022, 192,000 of their T10105 models were recalled after the machines began changing speed without input from the user, not occasionally, unpredictably, while people were actively running on them. The CPSC received 874 reports. 71 resulted in documented injuries, including bruises, abrasions, and 2 broken bones. The root cause was the motor control board misreading speed sensor signals under variable load conditions, issuing commands the user never entered. It manifested specifically under the sustained load of a person running on it. The fix Horizon offered was a USB drive mailed to owners, a firmware patch for a hardware architecture problem. One user described stepping onto the belt and feeling it surge without warning. She grabbed the rails. Her 60-year-old mother, same model, did not react in time. The lifetime warranty on every Horizon product page does not surface the clause in the actual contract. Coverage stops at 150 miles from an authorized provider. In rural areas, that clause renders the warranty void before a technician schedules the visit. A company that builds a geographic ceiling into a lifetime warranty has already modeled the cost of honoring it. The next brand shows how that risk gets institutionalized. Number 6. Life Fitness. For 4 decades, Life Fitness was bought by people who could not afford to be wrong. Hotel chains, university athletics programs, facility managers who measure equipment quality in years, not months, and whose repeat purchasing decisions are based entirely on what breaks and what does not. In June 2019, Brunswick Corporation sold the entire Life Fitness portfolio to KPS Capital Partners for $490 million. What followed is documented by commercial buyers. The ST40 and ST55 treadmill series, workhorses in hotel and corporate environments for years, saw changes in roller diameter specifications and deck material sourcing after the acquisition. Service technicians noted longer lead times for replacement components. Warranty claim resolution times extended. The machines still carried the name. The infrastructure built to support them quietly contracted. The Life Fitness Integrity series, which had defined commercial-grade construction for nearly 2 decades, was discontinued. Its replacement line used lighter frame specifications. Commercial buyers noticed. Consumer buyers had no way to. That is what $490 million buys in this industry. The name, the installed base, the distribution relationships, and the latitude to decide what the name means going forward. The next brand shows how fast that calculation can collapse entirely. Number 5. Precor. Precor meant something specific, not aspirational quality. Operational quality. 40 years of equipment running in Division I weight rooms from 6 in the morning until midnight, every day, without replacement. That kind of track record does not come from marketing. Peloton acquired Precor in April 2021 for $420 million. The stated rationale was 625,000 square feet of American manufacturing capacity and access to commercial accounts. 12 months later, Peloton outsourced all manufacturing to Rexon. The factories became redundant overnight. The Peloton commercial rebrand was abandoned. Precor was repositioned as a standalone subsidiary. The leadership team changed. A former fitness industry executive described it plainly. Peloton needed a supply chain solution. Precor was the fastest path. When the supply chain problem resolved, so did the reason Precor was in the building. All of this unfolded while Peloton itself was laying off more than 5,000 employees and watching its market value fall by more than 90%. 2 brands were restructuring simultaneously under one collapsing roof. Precor still sells treadmills. The name still carries 4 decades of commercial credibility. Those are now 2 separate things. And in the brand that follows, that separation cost $19 million in federal penalties. Number 4. Bowflex. Bowflex ran infomercials for 20 years. 2 decades of television built a name that felt permanent, not premium, just reliable. The kind of brand purchased without research because nothing alarming had surfaced in a generation. On March 5, 2024, Bowflex filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Sales had fallen 24.8% in the 6 months ending September 2023. The collapse was not just financial, it was structural. Bowflex's Treadmill line had been built around the JRNY app platform. When financial pressure mounted, app development slowed, content updates stalled, and the connected features that justified the price premium stopped improving. Owners of $2,000 treadmills watched the software experience quietly depreciate while the hardware sat unchanged. The company sold for $37.5 million to Johnson Health Tech Retail, the same parent company behind Horizon Fitness, whose 192,000 treadmills were recalled after 71 reported injuries. 20 years of consumer trust, acquired for less than the annual marketing budget of the brands it once competed with. What the transaction did not include was any of the reasons people trusted it. That does not appear on a balance sheet. Up next is where trust and safety collide directly. Number 3. Peloton. In January 2021, Peloton's stock hit $167.42. That was up 477% from its initial public offering price in 2019. Hardware as a delivery mechanism for a subscription. The gym replaced permanently. $40 billion of market capitalization agreed. The CPSC issued an urgent public warning on April 17, 2021. 1 reported child death. More than 70 incident reports. Children and pets were being pulled under the rear roller of the Tread Plus. The engineering issue was specific. The rear roller sat close to the ground with a gap large enough to create an entrapment point. Standard rear exit treadmill safety design addresses this with a rear guard. The Tread Plus launched without one. Peloton called the CPSC warning inaccurate and misleading and refused to cooperate with a recall. For approximately 3 weeks, while the federal warning was active and families with children were still using the machine, Peloton disputed the findings publicly. Then, they reversed course. Chief Executive Officer John Foley said, "Peloton made a mistake in our initial response to the CPSC's request." The CPSC settlement was $19,065,000. It was one of the largest civil penalties in the agency's history. Total reported incidents after the initial recall reached 351, including 90 reported injuries. One parent described it, "They had the incident reports. They called the warning inaccurate. That is the part I cannot get past." By 2023, market value had fallen from $50 billion to approximately $3 billion. There were more than 5,000 layoffs. Revenue dropped from $4 billion to under $2.5 billion. The company that declared the gym obsolete now licenses content to the gyms it once intended to replace. What you are actually paying for is not the machine. The next brand shows what happens when the model breaks at scale. Number 2. Nordic Track. Nordic Track has been in homes since 1977, older than the internet. A name that accumulated trust across generations, not through advertising but through presence, a machine in the corner of a room, used and not replaced year after year. In October 2025, a federal judge in Minnesota granted final approval to a class action settlement covering approximately 1.55 million buyers of Nordic Track and Proform treadmills, purchased between 2015 and 2020. The allegation was that iFit had misrepresented the continuous horsepower of its machines. iFit settled without admitting fault and agreed to stop making the disputed claims. Continuous horsepower is the power a motor sustains under actual running load. Peak horsepower is the maximum reached briefly under no load. A machine advertised at 3.0 peak horsepower may sustain only 1.8 continuous horsepower under a 180-pound runner at speed. The motor runs hotter. Wear accelerates in components rated for a load the motor cannot maintain. The number on the box described a condition the machine never operates in. That gap is now documented in federal court records. Compensation for those buyers was a $30 maintenance kit. Then the software architecture produced a second failure mode. Beginning in late 2022, a portion of users found their touchscreen consoles dead after automatic overnight updates. On models requiring the screen to initiate a workout, the machine became physically unusable. Motor intact, belt intact, treadmill off. A separate class action followed. One owner described waking up to a black screen on a $2,000 machine and being offered a subscription credit. He wrote that he did not buy a subscription. He bought a treadmill. When the hardware exists to deliver the subscription and that relationship breaks down, the treadmill stops being a treadmill. Two class action trajectories confirm this is not an edge case. It is the architecture. Number 1. ProForm. ProForm is the entry point. Purchased before a person knows what continuous horsepower means, before they understand the difference between a peak rating and a sustained one, before they know that a touchscreen tying hardware to a software platform is a liability as much as a feature. It operates under iFit Health and Fitness, the same parent company as Nordic Track. ProForm models were included in the same class action over motor power claims. The software update problem affected ProForm machines. The same subscription architecture. The same touchscreen that can render the machine temporarily unusable after an update that runs without permission. The pattern visible across this entire list converges at the product aimed at the buyer who has never heard any of it. One first-time buyer wrote, "I researched for weeks. I thought I was being smart buying ProForm instead of a no-name brand. I had no idea Nordic Track and ProForm were the same company. I had no idea about any of this." This is not a defect, it is a structure, and the $30 kit is its most honest product. That is 7 brands, 1 system. Now 3 brands where the price is connected to what is actually in the machine with the limitations that come with that. Number 3. Worth every penny, Soul Fitness. Soul Fitness operates without a conglomerate above it. No private equity timeline. No subscription standing between the owner and the hardware they paid for. The F80 has a 3.5 CHP motor, a 22 by 60 inch deck, 2.5 inch rollers, and a 2-ply belt. Lifetime warranty on frame and motor. The F85 extends that to the deck. Deck wear, friction heat between the belt and the surface, is the primary failure mode in residential treadmills. You only warranty the deck for life if the engineering justifies the exposure. The honest limitations: Soul's console is functional, not sophisticated. The service network is smaller than the major brands, and outside metro areas, response times can be slow. The F80's weight capacity of 350 pounds sits below some commercial alternatives. What Soul does not have: a class action over motor specifications, software that can disable the hardware, a parent company in bankruptcy proceedings. For most buyers, that absence is worth more than a larger screen. Number 2. Worth every penny, True Fitness. Frank Trulasky founded True in 1979 after his father bought a treadmill that failed to do what the box said. That decision has not changed in 45 years because the person making it has not changed. True is the largest privately held commercial fitness equipment manufacturer in the United States. Trulasky still runs it from St. Louis. The patent record is verifiable. In 1987, True introduced the first removable safety key on a treadmill. In 1992, True patented the soft system, which absorbs impact in the machine rather than transmitting it to the user's joints. In 1994, True introduced an orthopedic running belt. These are registered inventions, not heritage claims. The honest limitation is that True operates in the commercial and upper residential segment. Their entry price point starts where most consumer budgets end, and distribution runs through specialty retailers, not big box stores. Most buyers will never encounter one before purchasing. That is a real constraint. Every brand on the first half of this list changed hands. Each change introduced a new layer of financial priority above the engineering. True has had one set of priorities since 1979 because it has had one owner since 1979. Number 1. Worth every penny, Woodway. In 1974, Willy Schoenberger was planning a fitness center in Germany and concluded that no available treadmill met basic biomechanical requirements. Working with the Deutsche Sporthochschule in Cologne, he built one that did. Woodway GmbH was founded in Veil am Rhein in 1975. Instead of a continuous belt sliding across a flat deck, generating friction, heat, and wear with every foot strike, Woodway uses individual rubber T-slats mounted on ball bearings. Each slat absorbs impact independently, no sliding deck contact. The result is an estimated lifespan of 150,000 miles for the running surface under commercial load. The industry standard for conventional treadmill belts is around 15,000 miles. That number is in the product manual. Most manufacturers do not publish a lifespan specification because the number would end the conversation. Woodway machines run in U.S. military facilities, medical rehabilitation clinics, and professional athletic programs. A Division I facility director described the decision. "We stopped replacing treadmills. That is the entire point." The honest limitation is that Woodway costs $6,000 to $8,000 and is excessive for most home users. If you run 3 miles 3 times a week, the engineering is designed for a load you will never apply. The curved, non-motorized models require significantly more effort at equivalent speeds, and the console technology is minimal compared to connected competitors. For the commercial operator who has calculated the cost of replacement cycles, the math runs in one direction. 10 brands, 3 are worth it, 7 are not. See you in the next one.